Entaro Adun, Executor. Your defense of Antioch has restored my faith in the Templar caste. I admit that Tassadar's desertion had shaken my faith.
Indeed, Aldaris. I would hope that the Judicator would put more faith in their Templar brethren.
Tassadar, where have you been?
Be silent, Judicator. There is no time to waste, and I have much to tell you. As you know, the Zerg vanished after the fall of the Terran world of Tarsonis. And though the Conclave bid me return home, I was compelled to remain. A powerful psionic call drew my attention to a remote barren world named Char. Apparently the call was answered by others as well. For upon Char, I encountered those who were once our brethren. The Dark Templar.
Consorting with the Fallen Ones is heresy!
Enough! Hear me, Executor. For I have learned much from the Dark Templar Prelate, Zeratul. The Overmind controls its minions through agents called cerebrates. Strike down the cerebrates, and the swarms will surely fall.
Executor, Tassadar may be right. If you can keep the Zerg occupied, my force may be able to penetrate their perimeter and slay the abomination.
I pray we can trust you, Tassadar. Already I can sense the taint of the Fallen One's influence on your mind. You must return to Ire at once.
My concern is for the safety of Ire, not the judgments of the Conclave. I will return when the time is right.
Hi everyone, Boomer here and welcome back to Let's Play Starcraft. This is another fairly simple mission. It's the second Protoss mission. Apologies for the squeakiness of my chair as I get comfortable while commentating on this, but whatever. So, our first appearance of Tassadar in the Protoss campaign, for the moment, you'll remember him being the one who taught Kerrigan a bit of a lesson in complacency by distracting her so that he and the Dark Templar Prelate Zeratul could assassinate the cerebrate that they managed to. Unfortunately, that assassination kind of resulted in the Zerg realising where Aya was and the whole consequent invasion and sort of overmind being currently implanted on Aya. But either way, we just have to deal with things as they are for the moment. So you'll notice the timer at the top of the screen. When that is done, Fenix will appear in the top right hand corner of the screen, and then we've got to bust down the Zerg base. We're pretty limited on resources, so we can't just go completely all out, but I will be making a lot of Zealots and Dragoons. That is at least the idea on this front. And we're still going to maintain pylons and probes and all that good stuff. Still, while we've got a little bit of a downside, I thought I'd go a little bit into the lore of our character. We actually are a character in this time. In the Terran campaign, we were kind of a colonial magistrate who's never heard from again after the Terran campaign. The cerebrate that we were playing in the Zerg campaign has been killed. He died as part of the operations or the fight between Tassadar and Kerrigan and Zeratul on Char. So I'm afraid that our Zerg guy didn't last very long. And we are currently playing, or role-playing I should probably say, as a guy called Artanis, who those of you who are more more au fait with Starcraft will realise is one of the major characters of the arc and hasn't actually been killed yet, unlike a lot of the characters that you play in the series. So yeah, we are Artanis. We weren't given a name as far as this game goes, but it has been subsequently retconned that we are role playing essentially as Artanis. And Artanis is a pretty cool guy. Him and Fenix go back quite a long way, and they are a pretty cohesive fighting force. He is a Templar, as far as I am aware. But he's also fairly young for the position that he's in. I believe he's only 200 something years old, which for a Protoss, believe me, is young. And he and Fenix have a long history together, and there's also the fact that because he's young, he is more than likely going to be a little bit impressionable and more open to the sort of quote-unquote blasphemous ideas that Tassadar is throwing forward. Anyway, so as far as that's gone down, we're putting Gateway down. Zerg coming at us very lightly in this mission. Again, they aren't really a threat. It's just the fact that your biggest enemy in this mission is being resource starved, and by a long way. Because I can't build high Vespene gas units, I'm only putting 2 in gas. We don't have a lot of upgrades to do or anything like that, so I'd rather have my probes on minerals, where I can start making zealots. There you go, there's the first one. No, don't build a shield battery, it's a waste of a couple of hundred minerals, or at least in this mission it is. In later missions I will be using shield batteries, mainly because they just allow me to get my forces back into combat a lot quicker. Putting a forge down, not so that I can build photon cannons, but so I can get upgrades. Upgrades are a big deal. I'm not sure if the Zerg are actually upgraded in this, but they're not exactly threatening at this point. So I think I can just about manage to produce out of 2 gateways, even with just being on 1 base. Oh, Hydras. Guy's got caught out of position a little bit there, and I'm going to lose a probe because of it. So a bit poor, but a Zealot can easily take a Hydralisk in one-on-one fight, and that's not really too big of a deal. Let's put let's go for +1 weapons and get more Zealots. I can handle with just 1 probe on gas at the moment. I think I'm going to alternate Zealots and Dragoons out of here. I can't just go all Dragoon because I don't have the gas. And also Zealots, as I said, I think that Zealots have higher DPS than Dragoons do. It's just that Dragoons can fight at range, which Zealots can't do. I'm not too sure I like putting the photon cannon there, but I suppose that it just walls off the base a little bit. But that's 150 minerals, so that's a Dragoon that I'm not building because of it. And yes, everyone's heard the "my wife for hire" jokes and all the rest of it that come out of the Zealot. You don't need to. We don't need to hear them again. As far as the units, at least what a Dragoon is, a Zealot is obviously a Protoss warrior, but a Dragoon is actually a Protoss warrior who has, I'm not sure whether it's they've died or they've just been grievously injured, because they are literally just put inside that robotic body and left to their own devices, basically. So it's basically a way of the Protoss extending the useful life of one of their members, despite the fact they've been grievously injured. So obviously there's probably no such thing. Their idea is that you're useful if you're fighting, so they're coming up with a better way of keeping people alive. Oh, things died over here. I'm not too sure what it was, but they died. And yeah, just Zealots. Having to build pylons here because, once again, me being me, I have got myself supply blocked. I mean, what else is new? Oh, Zerg coming in some forces here, but, you know, this number of Zealots will just rip through a Hydralisk quite easily. And I think that Dragoons do full damage to Hydras. Again, one of the few things they do full damage to. I think that anything that's got the small modifier or something. I'm not too sure what the modifiers are. I'll have to look it up before the next video. Now, I'm going to build a couple of Dragoons because it's always useful. As you saw when I was playing the Zerg campaign, it is always useful to have those 2 levels of troops, as it were. You have the Zealots who run up to everything, and then you have the Dragoons who fight at the back. And we're just about to run out of time, so let's see where Fenix is.
We are in position. I await your orders.
Okay, Fenix, let's see what you've got. Oh boy, you really use it. Wow, I like what you're bringing. Fenix has bought 5 Dragoons, 3 Reavers, and 3 Zealots, and himself. Sorry, 4 Zealots there. He himself is obviously a super powerful Zealot, and Reavers are going to be very useful for blasting through the defences that we're going to be up against. But I'm actually going to... It's not really going to be a two-pronged assault. I'm going to leave these guys as basically a reserve force. I'm going to actually attack the Zerg base with what I have currently. And this is, I think it's the first sense of the fact that Reavers and later on carriers actually have to build their own weapons. And so... they have a very high cost to keep using them, but then again, you know, these scarabs do 100 damage each, I believe, and because they explode as well, it's a serious amount of damage. There we go. So this force looks decent, doesn't it? Well, to be fair, the Zerg base, and obviously as I've said in part 1, this is something that you're going to have to get very, very used to when you're playing as the Protoss, is the Zerg are really entrenched here. I think there are well over double figures worth of sunken colonies in the Zerg base, so don't think I'm going over the top here, I'm really not. And don't forget that this is a Hail Mary attack, because I don't think I have any I don't think I have any crystals left at this point, or at least very little, because I've been mining at a furious rate. So we are going to have to make do with what we have, basically, at this point. And as you guys know, with my complete allergy to micro and the game's pathfinding, and oh, the Zerg have decided now is a good time to attack. Okay. Watch as nothing of mine dies and everything of the Zerg dies. I might lose a Zealot here. Oh no. I will lose it to the first thing that, like, farts in its direction. Overlord, no one cares. Okay, there's the creep, so let's get moving. One thing I am desperately unhappy at is that the Zealots don't have the Citadel of Adun upgrade, which gives them better speed. It gives them, I think it's leg enhancements it's called, or something along those lines. But it gives them a severe speed upgrade, and that lets them close with things. Because as you can see, without it, they're pretty deathly slow. And we really need to close with these sunken colonies quickly, otherwise they're going to tear up the vast majority of our forces. The Zerg units are really not that much to worry about, it's just a couple of Mutalisks and the odd Hydra. But as you can see, look at the amount of sunken colonies here, and this is just the outer edge. So I think that just Dragoons here would be a problem, because number one, they'd be able to get double spiked really easily once you got in range of that. And secondly, they don't fire as quickly as Zealots, and so therefore you kind of do need that dual range thing going on. Again, still not bringing in Fenix's reinforcements yet. There's another sunken colony. You can see the Dragoons doing a really good job of keeping the mutas off me. I focus fire that sunken colony down. I'm not too sure how clever that is. Yeah, I'm focus firing colonies at the moment, which I'm not too sure is too clever. Given the fact that there's a ton of Zerg units around at this point, I think that this could be... Look at this, there's 3 spikes coming out of the ground. I'm just trying desperately to lower the amount of damage that my troops are taking because it's way too much at the moment. So if I can knock down there, and there's another one. Nope, first Dragoon goes down. And I'm getting double and triple spiked again. That's because there's more Sunken Colonies down there. Oh, don't go down there, you'll get murdered. Oh, never mind. So yeah, my force has been pretty devastated, but we have managed to... it looks like we've managed to keep the initiative, and we're going to be able to destroy the initial Zerg base. But we are definitely going to need those reinforcements from Fenix before we... Oh god, there goes another Zealot. And we're not going to have the firepower to take out this base in any sort of decent time. So here comes the backup group, as it were. And this will be more than enough to take out the remainder. Pow. See, what I should do with the Reavers is just put them in the opposing mineral line. That was a pretty dirty tactic certainly from Starcraft 1, where you just drop a Reaver in your opponent's worker line and everything died. And it looks like we've got this base down. So what I'm actually going to do is just make... I mean, I've got 1,000 minerals anyway. I could just make some more Zealots and Dragoons. But what I'm actually going to do, because I'm a complete sod, is I am going to actually expand to this Zerg base. So it gives me enough time to just completely refill my forces, and that makes the rest of this is going to be a total formality. You can see me initially warping in like a 9 or 10 Zealots, but then I think better of it and just cancel a few of them. And I cancel a few of them and expand. Again, this is totally unnecessary. If I'd have just rebuilt my Zealot forces, not Zealot forces, if I'd have just rebuilt my Reaver Scarabs and long-range bombed all those Sunken Colonies, the cerebrate is pretty much undefended. So, you know, this is a bit unnecessary what I'm doing here, but, you know, what the hell. It looks like a Mutalisk managed to get into my base, but one Mutalisk is not going to do too much damage. And there we go, we have an expansion, and we can just start mining like crazy. Still, I suppose it's pretty much time for us to close the box. So here we go. I've just rebuilt a few forces, 12 Dragoons and some Zealots. Hope I bring my Reavers down. Yeah, Reavers. Yeah. I'm not bringing Fenix down just in case he randomly gets spiked by all the Sunken Colonies. That'd just be annoying. And in we go, boys. Many of you will die. But the Sunken Colonies are going to go down pretty quickly here, so... Yep, no worries. And there's the cerebrate. That's what we were playing as in the Zerg campaign. Ew. Although apparently the true form of a cerebrate is not that sort of worm-like thing, it's more of a ball of light. But yeah, there's obviously going to be one more Sunken Colony, isn't there? But this cerebrate's going to die really quickly, and that's the end of this mission.
I will remain behind and observe the effects of our attack. Return to the Citadel. I shall notify you when the brood becomes erratic.
Don't you just wish it was that easy to take on the Zerg? Well, as you probably guessed, it might not be as easy as what Fenix has just said, but we'll save that for another time. See you next time, guys.